3 days ago I realized I should definitely be doing something for this, Joshua Browder, DoNotPay's creator, told NewsPulse Finance. I was doing research and I found no one is going down to small claims court on the state level. Despite the pending federal lawsuits, Browder sees small claims court as the ideal way to deal with this, without involving costly lawyers or complex cases that could last years. I think people should be empowered to do it themselves, Browder said. Instead of taking Equifax to federal court, they could take Equifax to small claims. In a lot of these states you're not allowed lawyers, there are no legal fees, and state judges are more sympathetic and more fair. They don't take kindly to big corporations pushing people around. Class action cases generally won't affect a consumer's right to take a corporation to small claims court, provided the company does business in that state. However, you may have to opt out of a class action to be eligible, something for which DoNotPay might have to write another bot. The consumer can definitely go forward in small claims court, even if a class action is pending, said F. Paul Bland, an attorney and executive director for public justice. There's no chance a class action would bar a consumer from bringing such a case. Earlier this year, Browder had developed a custom software that allows him to quickly create a chatbot, a program that asks users questions. Using the answers, the chatbot can create useful forms, in this case, the documents needed to take Equifax to court. With a team of mostly volunteer lawyers, Browder worked around the clock to get this new Equifax suing robot on his DoNotPay website. I thought, what if there were a way to file small claims in all 50 states? So I researched a process and found it'd be easy to do, Browder said. The small claims court is rigorous and efficient. The hard part, said Browder, was figuring out who to sue and the individual states' quirks in the small claims suit filing procedure. California is easy, but states like Texas make it very difficult, requiring a plaintiff to create their own lawsuit and complaint. The other challenge is figuring out where to serve. After you have the pages, you take the forms to court and they mail the parties a court date, which may be within a month or two. The ace in the hole for small claims, Browder said, is that the defendant isn't allowed to recoup legal costs, making it far less risky if the consumer loses. Although comparatively user-friendly, the standard amount of effort required to go to small claims court is high enough to make it rare. Hardly any consumers go to small claims court, in the scope of things, Bland said. But remember, 143 million people were involved in this breach. If a few thousand people filed small claims cases, that would be enormous by historic standards. If 5,000 people were to win $10,000 in small claims court, that would be $50 million. Still, that would be a fraction of those involved and a small financial blow to Equifax. It's almost de minimis compared to the scale of the problem, Bland said. A class action could potentially address this for everyone exposed. His is really a test for me, he said. Should I open myself up for corporate problems as the next issue to solve? The lawsuits are by no means a slam dunk. Besides having to show up at the hearing, the plaintiff will be obligated to justify the restitution. The trouble is that it's hard for the plaintiff to show they've been injured, said Brian Fitzpatrick, a law professor at Vanderbilt Law School specializing in class action litigation. If you have to change your credit card agencies or contact agencies, that's something. You can go to court and say, my time is worth X, I want that back. But someone's going to have to articulate those arguments. In a world where a lot of people could sue on their own, I think the defendants are going to like class actions better, said Fitzpatrick. They're not going to want to send a lawyer to every small claims hearings. If someone can figure out a way to make small stakes claims litigable a reality, then I really wonder if it changes the politics of the class action debate. Whether it's a success will depend on how people use it, and whether they win. But at the very least, Browder noted, this specific issue makes an enticing opportunity to try given the visibility, size, and the safety. There's no risk in this, he said. It's not like Equifax can say this is unreasonable. Ethan Wolfman is a writer at NewsPulse Finance, focusing on consumer issues, tech, and personal finance. Follow him on Twitter at @ewolfman. Got a tip? Send to eman@. There's a line in the new Equifax fine print that's raising eyebrows. The real reason Mexico will never pay for the Trump's wall, it be treason. How Waffle House's hurricane response team prepares for disaster. What Bitcoin needs to do to become real currency. Trump ways slashing one of the most popular tax deductions. A robot lawyer can fight your parking tickets and much more. Consumer watchdog is making it easier for consumers to sue banks. How ringless spam voicemails became a partisan issue.